what's going on, fight fans? Hey, this is Coach D, the Wild Man, coming at you again with another episode of Coach D Media. Now, you know I do with Coach D Media. I talk about all things combat sports related, from the highs to the lows. Now, look, I always tell you, I'll give you the best stories and the best interviews. And today, you're going to get both. I have a veteran in the sport, even though he's only 31. He's been at this game for a minute. I've known him for so long. I might as well call him my brother because he is. His family has helped me develop my media game. I did so many interviews and so many stories on this particular fighter. Everybody knows him. He's one of the real deals. He's going to tell you why he is. I'm talking about Justin the Tank Scoggins. He's on the road to remind the world just how good he is. So we're going to have a conversation about how he got started, where he's at right now, and what's his plans for the future. So let's get into it. Justin, what's going on, man?
Hey, trying to stay warm out here or up here in Michigan, man. I'm living up here and training now. Dude, it's great. It's great to see you and talk to you. Like you're saying, like we've been involved for a long time on this martial arts scene. We're both karate guys and wrestlers. So, man, it's nice we've been able to put this together and talk again. And hopefully we'll be seeing each other soon. And you'll see me getting my hand raised and kicking somebody in the head.
You daggone right. All right, so let's get the fans caught up, right? So like I said before, you've been at this game for a long time. As long as I've been in it, I've always known who you are. But like I said, you're in your prime right now. So catch the fans up. What got you into mixed martial arts? I mean, what got you in the combat sports altogether? Then what made you progress into MMA?
Man, so when I was 3 years old, my older brother, well, there's about 3 years difference in between me and my siblings. My older brother had just started karate, and I had started in the Little Dragons class. And it was one of those things where it's like, I mean, obviously we lucked out, and the first karate place we tried was Upstate Karate, where Ray Thompson and Steven Thompson train out of. So that's where I started my Kempo training at, with those guys. And I mean, if you have ever done classes there or been to felt the environment they have there, they're really good at making you fall in love with the martial arts because they're so passionate about it. And I mean, I was one of those kids, 3 years old, stepping on that mat, like seeing like not only the positive male role models that I had there, and seeing how it made my parents react when I would like be passionate about it. Like the love of the sport and of martial arts gripped me real early. And I mean, it was something that no matter what I was doing in life, like there'd be times I'd go play football and stuff like that. Like it was always, martial arts was always the love. It was always, what was helping me build in different areas of my life, and something that I knew no matter what I did, I always wanted to be involved with it. And, dude, luckily, like I've been blessed to meet really good people along the way and get some really cool opportunities. And still, like you said, I'm 31 years old. I'm still fighting actively, going strong. And, I'm blessed to still this day be living the dream. You know what I mean? Like chasing it.
So let's answer this way. So when did you know you was good? When you go, you know what? I can really do this on a high level. When do you realize, okay, I'm just that good? Not being cocky, but when you realize, okay, I can F a mother effer up. When you figure that out?
So, I mean, we did like full contact rules, uh, karate tournaments growing up,
Yeah.
up until I was about 11 years old. And then that's when we made the transition to full contact rules kickboxing. Right. So my very first fight I had was against I was 11. He was 11 or 12 also, junior division. And we were just getting into the fight scene. Like we didn't like understand how things work back then, really. You know what I mean? Like we didn't realize that, oh, this is your first fight. You're getting brought in to fight this kid who's coming back from Vegas, like this kid's decked out in all the gear, like title belts. And it's like, oh, snap. Now we know, like looking, it's like, oh, you were the one brought in to get pieced up. Right. But that's not how it went that night, man. Like that was the beginning of like actual full contact rules competition for me. So that sparked it off with this sense of like, it doesn't matter what their accolades are. What matters is we came here to fight. We've prepared literally our whole lives for this. And the guy in front of you he's going to go down and you're going to get your hand raised. And that's what happened, man. And after that fight, like, it started setting in that, like, not only are you gifted at this technically, but you can get in there and do it against high level guys already,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, obviously after that first one where I beat a dude who was undefeated, like 20-0, something like that, it was like, okay, like, we got something for real here. And I felt that, and at that time it wasn't like the UFC was starting to grow, MMA was starting to grow more, but I was still like focused more on kickboxing. So I won some amateur titles, kickboxing world titles, regional
Okay.
titles, and all this time, I've always had that because Kimpo is a mixed martial art.
Yeah.
So there was always this thought in our head, especially the UFC was when I was young, like 3 years old, the UFC was just starting to kind of gain popularity. So
Mm-hmm.
that was always like in the back of our head. But at the same time, it was like kickboxing was the main thing for us at this point.
Yeah.
So, once I started getting older and getting into middle school and high school, there was more opportunities for like wrestling and learning that side of grappling and stuff. And dude, I was a really good wrestler. Like my martial arts transitioned well, just like body awareness. I picked stuff up fast, and I
Mm-hmm.
fell in love with wrestling. Not as much as I fell in love with actual fighting,
Yeah.
but I fell in love with that, dude. Being able to, like, once I realized, like, oh snap, like, me being, I wrestled like 119 in high school. So
Yeah.
it's like, dude, the football coaches would come bring guys in from the football team and like line them up. And they're like, hey, anybody who can like not get taken down by Scoggins, like you don't have to do conditioning today.
Yeah.
And it was like, just, like, you're building skills, you're good with your kickboxing, but at the same time, you realize there's guys out there that are really good with what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So you're building these skills. I'm getting better at wrestling. And, you know, by this time being like 16, 17 years old, the WEC is starting to like
Yeah.
actually gain some popularity.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now it's starting to get in my head like, oh, okay, like I don't have to like be like fucking dogs like Jens Pulver, Frankie Edgar back in the day. Like
Mm-hmm.
these guys were 35ers fucking fighting 55ers, 170s.
Yeah.
And I was like, I might actually be able to have like a real legitimate career at my weight class.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then the WEC, they transitioned to UFC. I was there for the first title fight, or it might not have been the title fight. It might have been the eliminator
Yeah.
between Mighty Mouse and Ian McCall. They fought to a draw. And I remember in that fight sitting there, I think it was in Florida because I was
Mm-hmm.
training at ATT then. I remember watching and being like, I can beat both these guys.
Yeah.
Like legitimately thinking, man, I know how fucking good they are. They're the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but I know if I was in there right now, I feel like my hand would be getting raised at the end of it. So, man, it's always been like a constant process of growing and building these skills, and then being blessed to fucking like train with Jared Brooks and go to Albuquerque, and like you're building confidence as you're doing this because you're getting rounds in with these guys who are already out there. You sparred with the guy last week, and then in 2 weeks he's in the UFC main event and
Exactly.
he's winning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this shit too. So sorry for a super long answer on that,
Huh?
but I mean, dude, it's a cool journey, man. There's a lot of like, as there's ups and downs with it, and but as a martial artist, you got to be willing to grow and not forget the reason you're in this is to like in martial arts is become a better person overall. Like, and it might sound cliche or whatever, like of course we want to be world champions, we want to make the $1 million, have the contracts, but like, are you becoming a better person?
Yeah.
And if you're not, then don't do it anymore. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing what you love and becoming a better person, it's like keep going with that.
So let me ask you this. So I'm gonna say it this way about involvement. Like I said, you. I don't want to say you were a big fish in a small pond, but you were very successful in the local scene. From warfare, conflict, all the local promotions. I think you left out of South Carolina pretty much undefeated. So when did you decide? Okay, I have to evolve even more. And you decided to move to different camps. What made that decision happen?
I mean, honestly, what made that decision? If it would have been up to me, like fully my own decision, you know what I
Uh,
mean? I probably never. I would have gone places and trained for a couple of weeks.
yeah.
But as far as like, I've always been. And this will be debatable with people, but I'm like, I'm actually really good at listening to people. Like when I ask for advice or I
Yeah.
go to my people for advice,
Yeah.
if I ask for it and get it, I'm gonna respect it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So man, and it's kind of hard because like, dude, you grow up on a local scene and you train with everybody, and people bring you up, and they're in on you, man.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't know, it gets tough, dude, because you start listening to people who have been around the sport for a really long time, and you know they have your best interest at heart, and you know everybody really just wants you to do what you can do. But it's like, I mean, the evolution of being able to go out places and train those places is great because you get the different looks.
Yeah.
But dude, like there's plenty like South Carolina, man, they have everything you need there. Like, and like looking back now, like I honestly believe that like as far as growing as a martial artist, it helped me a lot. But as far as like placing down roots somewhere,
Yeah.
and growing, like, dude, there's more to life than just growing as a fighter.
Yeah.
If you don't grow as a fucking human being and like and mature and get wisdom, like real wisdom, like it doesn't matter how good you are, dude. Something will fucking happen that will derail your shit.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen. You could like, dude, I was training at the best places in the world, like supposedly, you know, the best coaches in the world, best training partners, and there's still times where you can do everything fucking right, and it's like you literally slip on a banana peel.
Yeah.
And it's like you can either go back to your fucking house or whatever it is after the fight and sit there and be like, "Oh man, that fucking sucks. I slipped. It was that fucking banana peel's fault." But I mean, to me, it's always been like, you know, if you really can't find an issue with what you were doing in the fight, like, and I'm thinking specifically Pedro Munoz.
Yeah.
It's like if you can't find an issue, like, yeah, you got caught in a guillotine again, okay, but it's like you can't blame it on you slipped.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, and it might seem a little out there, but it's like there's something else out there trying to get you to realize like you're missing something else besides just the fighting part of this shit. You're missing relationship. You're missing something as a man that is holding you back, and you got to have the balls to admit that and put yourself in positions to grow, you know, and not blame anybody else, put it all on your back and just fucking grind through it and like grow, fucking, you know.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So let's talk about your time in the UFC. First of all, how'd you get the call up to the UFC, and then walk us through what your experience like being in the UFC, because technically that's supposed to be the pinnacle of the sport. When you make it to the UFC, you are definitely a somebody. So during that time, tell me about some of your good fights. How are you feeling, and what were you thinking around that time?
Dude, so when I got signed to the UFC, I believe it was right after my fight. I had fought Lynn Cook for the Warfare title. I defended my Warfare title again, and that was it was big because like I was just finishing dudes like over and over, and he was like, now I was getting into this tier of competition to where people weren't able to say anymore like, oh, he's just starting his career, he's not fighting anybody good.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like now I've fought like guys like fucking, I remember back in the day, Chris Kane, Tim Goodwin, like I never fought Tim, but I'm saying Tim and Chris fought. Like these guys were like on the South Carolina scene as far as like 135ers and stuff.
Yeah.
They were up there.
Yeah.
And Lynn Cook, man, and when I fought him, I'm pretty sure he was like 6-0 or 6-1 or something like that. So I knocked him out, and I had to do this, and that's what this ugly hand's from. That Lynn Cook fight, you see that bump in it?
Yeah.
So I had to have, that was the first punch of the fight. I threw an overhand, and I broke that hand. And then, it's like some early adversity in my career, like second round I come out, I know the hand's broke. I finish him with the left hand and just kicks, and I end up knocking him out. And then that's what I was 6-0. I get signed to the UFC, and I go and fight in Australia. And man, like, dude, the opportunity to be the youngest guy on the roster, to have to have that shit behind you, and then go in and finish your first fight with a TKO, like, I think I don't know. It's like it almost like ashames me to say I was discouraged, but it's like you got to be real. Like I was discouraged after that fight and after my Will Campizano fight, which were my first two fights in the UFC, because I don't know, like it might have just been my ego at the time. I felt like I wasn't getting like I wasn't getting like the reception that I thought I was gonna get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you gotta do your time. You gotta grow, and like being 6-0 at 20, 21 years old, like you have to be tested. And the guys that are up in the upper brass, they realize that. They know that, like, even though I'm thinking like, okay, my next fight I want to go for the fucking title. Like they've seen this a million times. They've seen that young guy come through and then fucking get some money in his bank account and then fucking drop a fight or drop another fight, which I fucking did. You know what I mean? And it took me and it was like this sporadicness, you know what I mean? Of like, after you fucking go on a tear, going and bringing that tear into the UFC, like like getting to that point to where your immaturity will catch up with you if you never did the things to remedy that.
So being the youngest, and during that time, Wonder Boy was already in the UFC. How were they looking at your style? Did they consider your style, a good style to have? Because normally they'll pick like wrestlers, jujitsu, the dogs with heavy hands, but you coming with a kickboxing style, it's not too common. Wonder Boy made it famous, and then here comes you with the same style. How was that perceived?
Just like that. I mean, a lot of people were like, "Oh, damn, he looks a lot like Wonder. He looks a lot like Stephen Thompson with his stance and stuff." And
Yeah.
it's a dude. It is a not only is it a very effective style if you know how to use it properly, but dude, it's I don't know a prettier form of striking than that. Like it can be debated what's more effective and in certain situations and stuff. But man, there that shit's pretty. It's like if you watch Roy Jones in his prime, that's different than somebody who's like, yeah, that dude might be a real good technical boxer with a good technical stance, but there's something to be said for that flowy danciness of the art of it, and that it was aesthetically pleasing. We throw a lot of really cool kicks. I mix it in my wrestling and stuff well with it, but I think what I know what my main issue was is there was fights I was starting to get to where I was fighting to win the fight. I wasn't fighting to finish the fight.
Yeah.
And it would start showing, and I would feel like I'm pretty good with knowing when I'm up, especially if in my head I'm like, well, I haven't been hit and I've been hitting him. I've got to be the fuck up in this fight. You know what I mean? Like, so I would start getting in those mindsets of like, okay, well, go in here, win this fight. You're going to get to a title fight. You're going to be world champion. Like, why does it matter how you win them?
Yeah.
Well, it matters how you win them because when you start losing or those tough times do come, those bosses up there remember that shit.
Yeah.
Because they signed you to come in there, spin hook kick motherfuckers, slam them on their head, like be exciting. And it's like, if you start focusing on only that check and only that belt, you'll start only focusing on winning, which is great. You want to win, but you want to finish too.
Yeah.
So, and you got to be fighting for the finish, obviously doing it safely where you're not putting yourself in danger. But if you stop looking for that, that's the action. That's what the fans want to see. And at the end of the day, this isn't just the sport. It has entertainment value, and they got to sell tickets. So, I mean, I've done a lot of like growing in that aspect mentally because, like I said, it is like a duality of being a martial artist. You're developing yourself in how to avoid situations and how to keep yourself as safe as possible. But at the same time, now you got to blend that with, you got to be as safe as possible, but at the same time, you got to be the bully too.
Yeah.
So it's like this balance,
So would you say that was your first real lesson in the business of martial arts? Because I mean, I always talk about there is the sports side and there's the business side. Sometimes a lot of competitors who do martial arts overlook the business side. They're trying to be competitors and be the best competitor and have the best record, but then they forget about the business, like you just said, being able to go for the finish, being able to go for the knockout, making the fans love to see you compete and fight. But if you're not, giving them something to look forward to, then your name drops down. You're not as spectacular. Like if you look at Demetrius Johnson, he's considered the GOAT, but back in that day, Dana White said he wasn't an exciting fighter. The fans weren't behind him. He wasn't a draw, even though he was a successful fighter. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, absolutely.
so would you consider that your first lesson that this is a business at the end of the day?
dude, yeah, man. Because like, I mean, when you cross over to the like, when you're on like local promotions and stuff, like, I mean, you're gonna like if you are really UFC caliber,
Yeah.
you're gonna look great no matter what,
Yeah.
right? So when you get up to the UFC, though, what was just your great, when you get done, you get your hand raised, everybody's celebrating. Oh my bad. Oh fuck. Good. All right. My camera fell.
No
But
problem.
like when you get that win, you get your hand raised and everybody's celebrating in the UFC. Like, yeah, your team's celebrating and stuff, but that wasn't necessarily great to everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
there was 12 other guys on that card who were fucking killers just like you.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta stand out and separate yourself. And so like I was saying, like I would have a win to where like Will Campuzano stands out in my mind. Like, dude, that was like for me, I pitched a shutout. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like if you do that in baseball, everybody's gonna freak out. But like
Mm-hmm.
in fighting, pitching a shutout's great. But what's even better than that in fighting is a fucking home run, obviously. Like, and that's a
Exactly.
first round knockout. So after that fight, I remember I can't remember exactly like what the wording was, but it was just like, yeah, it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, nobody does this shit like I do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I did have that attitude, and that's another lesson I learned, man. Is like,
Mm-hmm.
is I've never been outside of I've never had any other career than being a fighter
Yeah.
and a martial artist.
Yeah.
Like the closest thing I've ever done besides just fighting is teaching people how to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, dude, I didn't realize being that young, like, I mean, obviously I know this shit. I know how you're supposed to act at work. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like as
Mm-hmm.
a responsible human, but like there's certain ways you don't talk to your fucking boss. There's
Yeah.
certain ways you don't disrespect, like you bite your tongue, you be humble.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't correlating those things, man.
Yeah.
I was set. I was like, I don't have a job. I do what I love.
Yeah.
Fuck anybody who doesn't like it type
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean? But like
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to work with that, and you'll fucking rub people the wrong way and fuck yourself for opportunities. And
Mm-hmm.
uh
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
and then all you can do from there is
well, I get it.
say
Like I
what?
said, I really can't. I really can't blame you because I get it. Because you got to understand,
Yeah.
I'm the guy behind the camera. I'm in the crowd, and you're hearing Scoggins. I mean, the whole building. No matter where you're at, no matter what venue, no matter who your opponent is, everybody's screaming Scoggins because you brought the crowd. How could you not feel confident? How could you not feel like you're the baddest man on the planet where everybody is singing your name? You know what I'm saying? So I get as a 21-year-old kid who's a world beater from the local scene, now you'd made it to the UFC and you go, look, they called me. I'm the guy. They wanted me.
Yeah.
So I get that aspect. So, but it's part of the growing process. You got to understand that aspect through doing it. No one can tell you that until you experience it. So I get that 100%. But now let's go to the next phase. So now, I don't want to say get cut from the UFC, but you're no longer with the UFC
Mhm.
and you're starting to explore different things. You went to Risen. So what was that experience like? Being fighting for Risen?
Dude, they're great, man. They're really hospitable too. They care about the athletes and the fighters. They're trying to make good fights. Uh and the way I see it, man, is like a lot of these legends and a lot of guys who have become greats in the sport, like they went through Japan. Like
Yeah.
something about it, like there's something about that area that it does attract the best martial artists in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was like it's almost like part of the hero's journey. It's like one of these things that like every one of you, like if you really are gonna be one of the greats, not only are you gonna have more trials and tribulations than the normal guy who's going to have a great career, but not necessarily be one of the legends.
Yeah.
If you want to be a legend, you got to go through the fucking grinder, and then you got to go through these same almost cycles that some of these other greats have gone through. You know what I mean? Like Anderson Silva, fucking Wanderlei Silva, these guys that had gone over to Pride and done like time in Japan. Like I don't know, it's almost like the motherland bringing home it's like karate or whatever, you know, like bringing it home so it can be home for a minute and then sending it back out
Yeah.
into the world. I mean that's kind of the way I'm seeing it, you know, my time in Ryzen. And and using it as some growth for like getting experience against guys who have competed and grown up in a martial arts culture completely different than the one I'm in.
Yeah.
Like even though all fighters, like, yeah, we all know kind of the same tech jabs, straights, and stuff like that, dude. Like if you watch somebody that's like more of a European boxer throw a straight, like they're leaning back on that straight a lot, like their head's more straight over their hips, whereas American boxing is more like sliding that head out to the side.
Yeah.
There's these little fucking like differences that make it cool and make it unique, even though it's the same damn technique, you know?
Okay.
So,
So
I mean, I learned a lot there, and I learned a lot. I learned how to better be a businessman in the sense of, dude, they know how to get the show popping, and they know how to, they allow you to really market yourself well, because that's what's big to them too, is like, be theatrical with your walkout. Like, give the fans something to look forward to the whole time. From the time they announce your name, it should be a show.
Yeah.
Carried into your fight until you're out of there. And dude, man, I'm excited to continue fighting in front of these fans, you know, in America, and guys, fans that I've built here, and getting back to the UFC where I belong, man. Like I really do. I don't think anybody would argue that. And I think people want to see me there, and I feel like there's a lot of really fucking cool fights that could be made with me in there.
Okay, okay, good. I'm glad you said it that way. So with all this growth we're getting right now with one championship, they're growing. The PFL, they got that Saudi money right now. They just required Bellator. They got that champion versus champion going on, and now you got the UFC. So technically, you got three promotions that can deliver the same level that the UFC has always delivered. So is it the love of the UFC because basically the UFC is primarily an American product. Which we've always known. We've always known the UFC before we've known anything else. We've always known the UFC. So is it that, or you just feel the UFC is just your home?
I feel the UFC is my home.
Okay.
I feel the UFC is my home, and I feel that I felt that way since I was a kid, you know, and I really started, you know, going after the dream of being a mixed martial artist, and wanting to prove my skills on the biggest stage, you know, and show everybody and put on good fights for everybody and get on a platform that's gonna broadcast that to the most people.
Yeah.
You know, and dude, you've got, dude, these other organizations, they're great, man. But at the end of the day, dude, like I would be lying to myself and everybody else if I said I don't want to be the UFC champion of the world.
Yeah.
I'd be a fucking liar. You know what I mean? And dude, once I got cut from the UFC, you have to start like you got to be you got to keep your dream alive, but you've got to be realistic. But then again, I'm like, you know, you sit with that realistic shit for a minute, but then I'm like, I never would have got where I'm at now if I would have been realistic with shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no, realistically, I'm one of the best flyweights in the world, and I should be up there. And realistically, I need my ass to go do some growth and just fucking grind back.
Yeah.
And I came to this point, you know what I mean, to where dude, Ryzen's been very fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like they've basically been like, you know, we want you to fight here, but like, you know, the UFC wants to sign you back. Like that's obviously like there's clauses and contracts for that.
Yeah.
And people know where I'm headed. That's why those are in the contracts in there. And because I'm not, dude, and no disrespect to any other organizations, man. Like I'm not gonna sign a long-term deal in my prime with anyone but the UFC.
Okay.
Like, I mean, that's just the way it's gonna be. If I'll go down swinging. I will go out fucking on my shield, and I'll fight the best guys for no money. I'll fight my fucking first fight in the UFC for free against whoever they choose if that's what they wanted. Because I want it that fucking bad, man. And like, dude, just it's hard because like just getting the fights right now is fucking tough, especially at flyweight, man. You know what I mean? Like people know what's up with me at flyweight.
Okay, so let's two men talking. We've been around this sport long enough, right? Right. We ain't talking about the Scoggins that was the homegrown name in the Carolinas. We're talking about the Scoggins now. What makes you the new Scoggins now? What makes you different and more prepared for the UFC than before? Who are you now?
I've been through some real grown man shit. Like fucking dude, like man, by my fucking parents, dude, like they work their asses off every single day to give us a fucking chance at chasing our dreams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't even realize the sacrifices that were made.
Yeah.
Because I was so involved with fucking doing it every fucking day. That's all it was. I loved it, and my parents fucking sacrificed a lot to make that a reality for me, man. And dude, those sacrifices paid off. They paid off when I was really fucking young.
Yeah.
And I was gifted this, like God gave me this beautiful gift for all this work that had been put in. And I didn't know how to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like realistically, like it's not that I can sit here and say like, oh yeah, it was a piece of shit. I didn't appreciate it. It's like, no, I didn't know how to appreciate something like that.
Yeah.
You have to fucking like, sometimes you gotta lose the shit. You know what I mean? That you were given freely to be able to fucking now you got to fucking work for it back. But you have a roadmap. You saw what the fuck it took to get there.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's up to you to make the changes as a man. Because like, dude, especially in like the world we're in today, man. Like I'm a believer in Christ. I believe in God, and I believe that like it's really important right now who is being put on these platforms.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like, dude, you will change at this point too, dude. As big as people's voices are, you will pivot a culture into even if it's just your small sect of the East Coast or Southeast, dude. If God puts you up on this platform and you use it in a way that's not right, like, dude, you're gonna cause some real shit. Like, and I had to, like I said, and what we said is like experiences you go through, they mature you, they should make you a better man.
Yeah.
And make you realize who you really are. Like if you're not Conor McGregor shit talker, don't try to be Conor McGregor shit talker.
Yeah.
If you have faith and you're fucking, you're a proud father or you're a proud husband, whatever it may be, be that. Like, and show the people that. Just fucking be real with it. You know what I mean? Don't get down in the dumps about like, oh, I'm not getting paid as much as this guy. I'm not getting as many fights as this guy. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll be like that guy. Or I'll talk shit. You know what I mean? Because that is what everyone will tell you, dude. It's like, oh, you need to talk some shit. You need to talk some shit. It's like, really, maybe what if I get on here and I talk about like God? What if I get on here and I talk about my faith and my family and like things they've sacrificed? Like, because I think that's what, like, yeah, fans want to see fights, but when they're not seeing a fight, they would like to see the person that's behind the fighter, not some fucking caricature you made up so you could fool everybody. Like, I've never wanted to be that, man. And I mean, I'm sure that's why I've been through had a lot of the experiences I've had, is because like you'll get what you pray for, and I've always prayed for wisdom and to be real, and I'm working on it.
Okay, so now, like I said, being good, like the old saying goes, iron sharpens iron. So now you out there with Jared, which is he's one of the best in the game. He's killing it at one. So you're training with him. So what's that kind of training like? Because he's heavy handed, he's heavy wrestling based. Is he giving you putting a tighter wrinkle in your game now or what?
Oh, dude, man, I can't sing Jared's praises enough, dude. Like I tell everybody, first of all, that is the best wrestler I've ever trained with. Fucking like technically, fucking like strength wise, and dude, I've never seen Jared Brooks at any gym we've gone in, even when it's been like, it's always in good fun, but it's like Jared will go up to the biggest heavyweight there and be like, I could take you down. And it's like, bullshit. That's a UFC heavyweight. You could take him down. I swear on there's never been a time he hasn't got the takedown, dude, on anybody. So, dude, my wrestling game like was already pretty good before Jared. We started training together. We met 10 years ago now, almost 11 years ago now at American Top Team. And dude, my wrestling game went fucking crazy. His striking game fucking went crazy. Like Pascal, his last fight, Pascal was a former world champion. Some striking organization was a world champion. And dude, Jared ended up adjusting in the middle of that fight and winning that fight with movement and boxing and angles and shit. So, dude, we're boosting each other up every day, every time we train with each other. And I mean, the only things me and him really have to worry about is like sometimes we'll have to take a week off from seeing each other. You know what I mean?
I
Because
feel you.
it'll always be one of those days where it's like, hey, we got small gloves on. We're just gonna flow, right? Flow. And then it's like whack. All right, motherfucker. Oh, we're picking up the pace now. Okay, fuck it. Now we're going.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, dude, after we're done, I'm like, fuck, we should have charged for that shit. I was like, MMA gloves, just beating the shit out of each other. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, Jared's the shit, man. I love him like a brother, dude.
So let's talk about fun fights, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: some of the things that I'm happy to have seen in my lifetime is watching fighters I've seen come up in the sport, do great things, and leave a moment in time that everybody can appreciate. So what I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about is when you had a chance to go to bare knuckle fighting championships and fight Keith Richardson, in bare knuckle, where that fight should have been made a long time ago, right? It happened in bare knuckle. It is what it is, but everybody showed up to see it. And the screams and praises that you guys got for putting on the fight that represents the Carolinas, what was that feeling like?
Man, to be able to like have like a homecoming like that in South Carolina where I haven't been able to put on a show actually in front of my fans, hometown fans for such a long time, dude. And that dude, honestly, like if that would have been an MMA fight, I might not have taken it on short notice
Yeah.
because Keith is a fucking like he's still a legit MMA. Like I still think he could go to back to MMA and fucking have a chance at a big organization.
Yeah.
Like that is a fight you need to prepare for,
Mm-hmm.
especially in MMA. I mean, going into it, it was a short notice fight for bare knuckle, and like as soon as I got the call, like it was almost like there wasn't any hesitation for me. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like I'm a fighter, I need the money too, and it had been a minute since I had like fought, but at the same time, like obviously, when there's more factors that are pushing you towards it,
Yeah.
it's more likely to do it. That was one of the factors. Another one of the factors is just like, dude, my fans they like watching me fight MMA. I was like, because it looks cool and shit, and I'm good at it. But even though this isn't really my sport, I think this is gonna make people go fucking crazy when they hear it and then they see the fight and stuff. So,
Yeah.
dude, that one really was for the fucking fans, dude.
Yeah.
And we delivered, man. Like I could have never have imagined that. I never played that fight going out like that in my head. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes us both fucking dogs and show what our state is capable of, man, and bring the eyes where they should be over here is having two dudes who we're not the boisterous shit talkers.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us are pretty fucking our families know each other. Our families are tight.
Yeah.
All of our families are connected and cool with each other and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that is to me that's better than any shit talking or anything. Is to when two men cannot, dude. We have no problems with each other. Me and
Yeah.
Keith hug each other anytime we see each other. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, we'll do that afterwards. Right now, we're doing this for these motherfuckers out here.
Yeah. And the
And we
good thing
damn did
about
it, man.
and the good thing about it, it's still talked about to this day.
Yep.
I be in conversations talking about fights, and they'll bring it up. They go, Coach D, hey, is Take Scoggins coming back? What's the word on them? They're coming back. So you've left your mark, even though your name was already solidified as a legend in the Carolinas. You've left your mark on fan base for a long time to come. So
Thank you,
that's
man.
the beauty of this sport, where somebody can remember your name. Like I said, me, I talk shit, right? Fighters, sometimes they get in their head, like you said, when you were younger, you were in your head. I said, look, if a fan can't remember your name, to me, you ain't shit. When you go, oh, who's that guy that fought that fight the last time? I go, you don't remember his name? Then he didn't leave a mark on
Yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying? But when they remember your name, that means you did something, and that's all that matters. So now
Yeah.
that you're at this point in your career, you're technically in your prime, where I call your grown man strength. What do you
Yeah.
want the fans to know about you now? What makes you special now? Tell the fans who the
Man,
new you is.
so like all the things that the fans loved about me before without the I mean, dude, it's like just beating myself like not and that's a whole it's an easy sentence to say stop beating yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like that's a whole sometimes that's some shit you got to unpack. You know what I mean? Like fighters, dude, all fighters are fucking head cases, man. Like I don't know one that's not like a fucking head case. It's like, but you got to work that shit out in yourself. And I mean, I definitely think the fucking bare knuckle fight like knocked something loose for me too. Like it was this sense of like go in there and fucking like let it go. Just let it go, dude. Like there's no more time to there is no time to hold on.
Yeah.
There is no angle. Sometimes there is no angle to take. Like, man, you know, like I want fans like I mean, damn, I definitely want their eyes to be able to be on me somewhere. You know what I mean? Like not only that is like, but to see that like I've been trying to be active. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason if there goes time by that I'm not fighting, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm not wanting to fight. It's because nobody outside of the UFC will take a fight with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody knows what my caliber is and like I know I still have room to grow, but like as far as like holes in my game and like areas where I have had clear holes, not only have I sealed those holes up, but I've made them strengths.
Yeah.
Dude, if you go watch my last fight with XMMA, dude, like I've become and like I really feel like I've rounded out my game and I'll continue to round it out to where there's no breaks in my action anymore. Right? Like if I hit the ground and I'm on my back and guard, like I'm working from that. I'm flowing through positions. I'm either getting up, I'm going for submissions, like I'm seeing things in a full spectrum now and I'm not going to be boxed into one area. Like it's constant action, constant pressure and you're not going to knock me out. My damn head's too hard, dude. Like at least for the next 10 years, like I think I got some I think I got enough up here in the old skull to keep taking those shots like that, and I know I can give them back harder than I take them. And then it's like, dude, like if you just watch the bare knuckle fight, that shows right there I'm capable of dog fights, and that's not even with all my skills.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, because XMA, you finish with a rear naked choke, which is pretty daggone cool. So, but let me ask you this. Let's pick a fight. If you can pick a fighter that you want the world to go, look, this is me now. Who would you want to fight?
Well, like outside of an organization or anyone?
It don't matter. Like I said, almost like a call out. Who would you want to go? Okay, watch what I do to this guy. Who would you want to fight?
You know what? I'm gonna give two answers. All right, because I'm gonna give one for my dream matchup that I think this matchup, even with just like 6-8 weeks promotion, just fucking me and the UFC, Sean O'Malley.
Okay.
I would love to fight Sean O'Malley. I think that fight would be fucking movement, fucking angles, sticking. I think that I think people going into that fight, even him being the champion, I think people would be fucking excited to see that.
Yeah.
So I think Sean O'Malley would be a fucking crazy great matchup for me to show like not only like can I compete with somebody like who can strike like him, which obviously fucking he didn't grow kickboxing, man. I got the technique on him when it comes to striking. But at the end of the day, dude, like I think I would slam that dude on his fucking head. I think I could suplex him like I suplex fucking Ulka Sasaki back in the UFC in Singapore. Like, and you know he's a great personality, and I think we could have some cool interactions with each other. So that whole thing I could see being a really cool fight just the whole way through. Outside the UFC, one I've really had my eye on to like not only prove to myself, but now that you say it, like it'll prove to fans. Sean Santella, Shorty Rock. So he fights. He's been having trouble. I've heard finding fights too, and we actually recently through a manager linked up, and that fight's kind of set, but we don't have a promotion to put it on.
Oh.
So that's what we've been kind of looking for somebody who will put that fight on, but supposedly, you know, he's one of the best flyweights and has been one of the best flyweights outside the UFC for a while now.
Yeah.
So, you know, in my head now, being older, I definitely lean towards more that mindset of like, okay, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, those are my two that definitely that stick out for me. Where I could either one of those I could show fans and and upper UFC brass or whatever that like, yeah, he puts on a show and he's legit, the real deal.
Okay. So you've been in this game for so long. What still gets you going? What keeps you motivated? Where does your hunger come from now?
Man, my the fact that the I mean the fact that I had like that it's just it's not over and I haven't done what I set out to do.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's like like I'm not the type of person who will set out on a mission. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm whether I'm screwing myself over or not, man. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Like, and the more people tell me that no, you're not going to do that, like the more it gets me excited to fucking do it, and the more because that's usually what that it's resistance, man,
Yeah.
and life is good at doing that to test it, like to test you to see if that gold that you think you have is real pure gold. You know what I mean? It's like you got to go through that. You got to go, dude. I've been through it's easy to go through when everybody is like, you're headed there. Yeah, let's go. You're going to the UFC. You're going to be world champion. But then after you get cut, then dude, that disappears, man.
Mhm.
And now what gets tested is your own fucking resolve.
Yeah.
And not only like testing your resolve, do you want it? Are you willing to make the changes and growth in yourself as a human and a fighter to fucking get there?
Yeah.
And I have been, and I've put in too much work, dude. I've moved across the country to fucking to put myself in position to where I'm not having to travel back and forth. It's like, okay, finally set up here, fucking get to work, get yourself a fucking get a way, get a way to fucking like live and fucking fight for yourself to where it's like you're not just relying on fighting all the time.
Yeah.
Because like those guys who have been through that, those guys who they didn't grow up in martial arts their whole life, they decided as late teenagers or early young men that they wanted to do this.
Yeah.
They had to make real fucking sacrifices. They had to go fucking be garbage men. They had to go fucking. They had to do what the fuck I had to do at a later time in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had to go fucking work on a horse farm, shovel shit, fucking be up at the fucking before the sun every morning, dude. Like, man, I have, I have been, I have wasted opportunities that have been given to me, or I've taken them for granted, and I've made it a conscious effort to never ever let opportunities slip me by again. And even if they already have, and I don't, you can't know that. I mean, but even if they already have, it's not going to change my work ethic and the fact that I'm headed back to the UFC, and that's my goal. And I'll fight anybody to get there. And it's not about the money. It's not about a contract. I could get a contract from other big organizations and sign a big deal, but my goal is to do what the fuck I said I'm going to do, and that's to be a UFC world champion. And man, I'm excited. Dude, it feels like things are like I'm on a 4-fight win streak. Things start kind of cycling back around. You start seeing some familiar faces. You start talking to people that like they were there, like the ones that have been there. They've always been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Me and you have always stayed connected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've always known you're real. You've always known that I was real, not only as a person, but like, yeah, he's really one of the best in the world at his weight class. Like he should be there. So like, I mean, just fucking real recognizes real, and we got to we stick together and fucking, I mean, at the end of the day, we're fight fans. You're a fight fan. And like, I mean, even selfishly, if you didn't like me as a fucking person, you would still want to see me go in there and do my thing because it's fucking cool to watch.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when you saw the article from I think it was MMA Junkie, how'd that make you feel? How'd that make you feel?
Holy shit, dude, man! Like I'm not even gonna lie, I got a little teary eyed just because of the situation that was around it. Yeah. So I didn't even know this article was wrote. I was literally me and my chick had sat down. She's a lot more organized than me, so I'm like, dude, I got to figure out. I was like, I can't get a fucking fight. I can't get none of these fucking promoters from fucking these fight pass shows to fucking hit me back. And I don't know if it's because they can't find an opponent or they think they can't afford me or what it is. And she's like, yeah, okay, you know what we're gonna do? She's like, go make a list of every one of those promotions, and we're gonna start putting fucking a database together and just start fucking hitting everybody up, right? And I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go. So I start typing in. I'm like, UFC Fight Pass promotions. Yeah. And it's the news that comes up first, and it's like MMA Junkie posted 2 hours ago. It was like 20 or 30 fighters that can make it into the UFC, or former fighters that can make it back into the UFC this year. And dude, I'm scrolling through the list and I'm reading and I'm like, I'll see somebody, I'm like, I'll beat the fuck out of this dude. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I'm scrolling down, I see my fucking name on there, dude. And it was like, I don't know, like whoever out there, whether you believe in God or not, I'm gonna tell you he's real, man. And he'll wink at you every now and then and be like, don't stop. Like right now, all you might get is this little wink that, like, yes, you're on the right track, but like you got to hold on to that and fucking let it fuel that fire and fucking go with it, man. And like, and not like when you get those signs, you know what I mean? It's really easy to see those signs and then just move on and be like, forget the sign that you just fucking asked for. But I got the sign, man, and I've been fucking grinding and trying to like obviously as a fighter, like do my job and train and improve, but like fucking network too the best I can. You know what I mean? To like set these fights up and let these promoters know and fucking let Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard know, like, dude, I'm not the fucking 20-year-old kid that I was before. I'm a 31-year-old man who like has had some real experiences and I know where I fucked up, and I just want the opportunity to be able to show everybody exactly what I'm capable of and be that world champion, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I appreciate you saying that very sentence. Cause like I said, I'm at my age, I'm a no nonsense old head for the Marine Corps. You name it, I've grinded all my life. I've seen it all. I've seen you grow up. I've seen your brother grow up. I've seen so much of it that I weed out the bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know me, I will mollywop you in a minute if I'm hearing the bullshit, right? And I'm
Yep.
proud that you're here saying, look, I'm ready now. I fucked up. I did some stupid shit. You know, I took shit for granted. You know what I'm saying? Because I said, I know your dad. Your dad is gonna make sure you got it. That's one of the your dad. I'm gonna say give 10 seconds about your dad. Your dad is one of the best men I've ever met in my life. Right? When
Yeah.
I've we've met consistent men in our lives that we can say, okay, he's pretty stand up. But there's another thing to be consistent in how you stand up. And he's always been the
Yep.
same since the first day I met him until now. Right? He's always been that straight up dude, and he always protected you. He always had your back, and he made sure he gave you every, like you said, he gave you every opportunity to be successful. But we got to grow into that success. We got to grow into that man that he's backing. You've now, to me, you're now the man that he's been pushing you to be. You're taking ownership for
Man,
shit that's
dude.
going wrong. You made decisions to better your career, and you say fuck it, give me a shot now and watch what I give you. That's what men can do. That's the only thing a man can do is say, give me a shot and I'll prove it to you. That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Dude, I appreciate you saying that, man. That's big words, and like I really appreciate that, dude, because like you said, I mean, same to me. My dad's the best man I know, and like like for him to be able to look at me and say, like, you've become a good man, and for you to say that, like, two men I respect like that, dude, like that really means a lot. And it's just that affirmation that I am on the right track and I'm doing the right things, and I'm not going to be slowed down, and I'm not going to do things like I I'm not going to do things. Obviously, we got to make money as fighters.
Of course.
I'm not doing this just for money, man. Like I said, I'll go in the UFC if they would give me an opportunity. I would let them pick the fighter. I would fight for free, dude. I would do it for free just to fucking show them, like, I want it that bad, and I want to be a part of the best organization in the world, and I want to put on shows for everybody, make all the sacrifices my family made fucking worth it. And I'll work until my literally that and that's what I've said, until the wheels fall off. And literally until my body cannot do it anymore, I will go out there for the fans, and I will fucking grind through this shit because I love it, and I love doing it for them, and I know they like it, and fucking there's nothing else for me. That's it. It's fighting, and it's growing in this and growing as a man, and till it's done, till I can't do it no more. That's what I'll be doing.
Well, hey, I said I'll appreciate that energy, but I ain't gonna let you do shit for free. Fuck that. Being punched in the face hurts. So yeah, get something for your trouble. But I get it. I get the spirit in what you're saying it in. So all right, so let's use
Yep.
this time to hey, talk to your family, talk to your sponsors, talk to your friends, give them some love, and tell them how much you appreciate this journey. Go ahead and give it to them.
Man, first and foremost, I want to give thanks to my Lord and Savior. And I mean, and just say how important it is to, like, you don't have to necessarily like believe a certain thing right now, but like just the world we're living in, try and start having a conversation with God, and follow that path. And he'll lay it out for you. I don't like to try to tell people exactly how to do that, because that's between them and God. But I feel like that's really important to say, especially in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to my family, obviously, dude, like, they've been with me and they've been riding with me, and making sacrifices, and believing in me, and the Scoggins. It's on my back. I love them. I miss them. Like not being able to be near my family. Like, that's one of those sacrifices that I've had to make, that I'm not going to let it be for nothing. I'll grind my ass off. And I mean, sponsors, the fight doctors are always there. Fucking talk to Ari Kramer just about every day, man. He's always checking up on me, making sure I'm good and healthy. Uh, Roots Combat Club, I teach over there. Uh, I've put together a really cool kickboxing program. We've got guys who are about a year in, who are getting ready for their first amateur kickboxing matches, man. And dude, they got the movement, bro. Like, a lot of them got the movement. They're getting ready. So, like, man, like, that's another thing. Like, getting to that point to where, like, you're giving back to people, and like sharing your knowledge with them. Like, it's only gonna boost your growth and where you're trying to head with your stuff. So, them, fight doctors, fucking Revolution back home, man.
Yeah.
I miss all you guys. Jimmy Fowler. Like, if you're in that area and you're looking for martial arts training, like, Jimmy Fowler's the best. Man, yeah, that's right now. That's all I can think of. Coach D, you're the fucking man, dude. Like, somebody who really loves this sport, somebody who goes out of his way, spends his own money to go out here and get the eyes on the people. And it's not just, you're not just going out there and getting eyes on people you like. It's like, no, I'm going out here and trying to get the fans to see who the real best is. I'm trying to expose the real. Like, that's fucking, like attracts like, and fucking, we're doing it. And dude, I'm so excited. I'm happy, man. I'm like you said, I feel like I'm in my prime, and but I don't want anybody to miss these next years of fighting I got ahead of me, man. Because, like, you're about to see some cool stuff and growth in my game. And like, I really feel like I'm going to add something to this art overall. Like, I'm going to contribute something to this art, and just got to do it.
I hear you. All right, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I'm gonna say this, right? I've followed Justin Scoggins for a long time. So I've been doing this since 2009. I've seen so many of his fights. You know what I'm saying? I've heard his name screamed in so many promotions, right? But I will say this: this is the best I've ever heard him. Right? He's talking to me like a man, right? And that's something I can only respect, because a man, he has to live up to it now. He said it on my podcast. He said it. He has to live up to it. He has to be the man that he says that he is. And that's all we can do, is walk the walk we said we're going to walk, talk the talk that we said we're going to talk, and just do it, right? He says, hey, bring it to him and he will deliver. And that's
Yes,
all
sir.
anybody can ask as a fighter and as a man. So I'm down for that. So we going to let it go
Yes,
when
sir.
it go. All right, Justin. So this is Coach D doing what I'm doing, calling it like I see it, talking my share of shit. Till you hear from me again, peace out.
Ooh.